May 21st, 2026, Sun River Service District Managing Board meeting. And with that, we'll get started. And this is a call to order. And our immediate is first thing is a Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Start off with our roll call for the service district. Director here. Director Kelly here. Director Stevens
here.
Director Pfister, Chairman Pfister, he's online with
Here.
He can hear us and thumbs up, so he's here. And John Shoemaker, the assistant or vice chairman, is here. So we'll get started with first of all, we'll call for public input. And we have one person on the list today, Mr. Westwell. If you would like to stand up and be heard, please.
Sure. Last year, about this time, let you know about false arrest by the Sun River Police Department. Requested at the time that I get my body cam, so I can have full evidence to compare against the falsified police report, which I asked Pete to give to me, even though it was before his time served. He was still on watch when I was asking 3 times. I never did get it. It's since retrieved it from the DA, who also denied me. The reason that the DA denied me was because of the same exemption that they used. I think it's 192.345 wasn't enough public interest. However, your mission statement says that there's transparency in your mission statement. For a body cam to be used in its full capacity, it goes transparent both ways, Pete. I have it now from the DA. You know why? He didn't want to be on the Brady report that you need to be on because you didn't give me my exculpatory evidence, which is fraudulent concealment. Federal lawsuit right now. I have to prove to the judge this case. I want you all to know the transparency that I did. Maybe you even looked at his report that I complained on. He didn't do a very good investigation on you because if you would have noticed it. The body cam has to match all audio to the police report. And if you're going to deviate from it, your officers are supposed to be trained. I will say it again, supposed to be trained how to report in their police reports why they're not going to have the audio available. They say code blue, then it goes silent. You can't read lips, but you can see them in my body cam video, both Austin and Casey Mann, who've been somehow miraculously transferred out of here. Not my request. The bottom line is this: it's transparent and you can use it for or against you. You have to release it. It's the law. It's a real law. It's a Brady rule. And fraudulent concealment is going to get you on the Brady list. I have this case coming up. I have to prove to the judge. I just want to be on the record that if you falsify a police report, and I can prove it by having the body cam, it shows no report of going off audio and the reason why going off audio. Say this whole thing has been a scam. Your sham investigation, your bullpucky version of Gary pound sand. I don't care if you don't get your body cam. It's all a bunch of malarkey. You're willy-nilly way you guys run this place. I'm telling you, it's going to be on the news, and I'm going to be public interest 101. I'm ready to have any conversation y'all want to have, but I'm on the record that you're not running things properly. Departments should use transparency, and when they don't, it's breaking the law. I want justice for all. I'm all. Okay? So that's all I have to say. Pete, you know the story. Do your job. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Westwell. With that, we're going to move on to Chief Rasick had a announcement here.
I do. These are the announcements that I love making. Thank you for that. I actually would like to introduce, some of you have already met Morgan Joubert, who is our newest police officer joining us here in Sun River. Morgan has lived in the central Oregon area for about 12 years now, living up near Redmond with his wife and children. And he has Well, right now we have doing the super exciting, all the good orientation stuff, reading all the policies, all that good stuff. But he will start his FTEP program next week with Corporal Lawrence. And again, I want to just introduce him and let him know that we're excited to have him.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. Then we have the consent agenda, which in this instance includes the April 2nd special board meeting minutes, April 16th board meeting minutes, May 15th SSD SROA joint meeting minutes, and most importantly, one of our bank loan payments in the amount of $751,235.39.
Note that the joint meetings are not included. We'll get those next month. Usually we work back and forth with the SRO staff to get them in final drafting. But with the meeting being last Friday, we had a chance to do that yet.
Okay, so sans the joint meeting minutes, number C, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make the motion with the exception of C.
With the exception of C. We have a second?
Second.
So moved. With that, we'll put it to a vote.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Chairman Pfister?
Yes.
Chairman Pfister says yes, and the Vice Chairman Shoemaker votes yes as well. That, I'll sign the payment on this. Oh, I don't have to sign on that. It's already approved. Okay, or here it is. But on the amount of $751,235.39. Moving on to old business. We have several items on there. Chairman Pfister, I don't know if we can hear you, but if you want to give us a safety building construction update.
So audio check, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So we continue to do the work on the South Tarmac. John Ralston has been taking most of the lead for that. And we thank John for all his continued service on both this and the nominating committee. There are a couple other items that are on the list, but right now we are holding in abeyance, like the steam shower and some other minor repairs. I do believe that we are complete on with reworking the floor on the decon room. So we continue to make progress. We have the budget approved for South Apron for the fiscal 27 year, should it fall into that. And otherwise, that's the end of the report.
All right, sounds like it's moving along. Thank you, Jim. And with that, we've all been waiting anxiously for the reserve study, Mindy. Anyway, this has been kind of sitting in abeyance for a while, and it is important that we do it to move a lot of different issues with the district forward.
Yeah.
So if you can give us an update on the reserve study, please.
Well, I mean, there's not a huge update. It's just currently I'm working with both chiefs to review. There's a lot of data now in that reserve study that has not only the capital, the 716 capital equipment, but also all the building and the building equipment. So we're just currently reviewing that as a team. And then once that's done, I've sent off the financial pieces for the reserve study. So once we get that finished up, hopefully we can have a final document. I'm very much hoping for June.
Okay. And for those that aren't familiar with it, and most of you are, is that the reserve study was, we felt it was lacking in the past, and this time it's been we took a deep dive on it with the new company, and I think going forward, this will assist greatly in the tracking and planning process for the district, especially in light of the budgeting comments that have come up lately. So I think we're better off going forward. So be anxious to see that. Thank you. Caldera Crosswater expansion. As everyone knows, we put that, farmed out some of the work to a law firm that is well informed on whether it's annexation, taxing, special districts in general. We just got a memo back, finally. Not for discussion right now in here, because we need to sit down and discuss it, what our next steps are going forward. And when the time comes, because is considered under a confidential status for right now, we just have to set up a meeting in the near future, and hopefully we'll have some roadmap there going forward. That's where we are with that. Update, nominating committee update and status, Chairman Pfister, and we're fortunate, I see we have one of our committee members here, Mr. Schneider. Thank you, Randy, for showing up. So Jim, what's the latest on the nominating committee?
Sure. So we have two open positions coming up that will start in September. We had three interested candidates. Two of them applied. The third, at the last minute, withdrew an application. But we interviewed one of the candidates on Monday, and I believe we interviewed another one of them today, although I was not able to attend. Is that correct?
Yes, and
So-
so committee then, I think, I'll send out an update for that interview today to the committee, and we hope to move forward with the process next week.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so we will move forward on the process next week. We will, of course, inform the board, as is the nominating committee's charter, who we send to Deschutes County. And then if the managing board would like to add comments, they're welcome to do that. I don't believe we have a timeline yet to send to Deschutes County, but we've got plenty of time. And so we should be able to let you know, make sure that you'll know when the nominations are going to Deschutes County, or make sure that we know when the nominations are going to Deschutes County, so that if the managing board wants to add any comment, we can do so. But looks like everything is progressing nicely.
They're two very good candidates, so I think they'd be a great addition to the team. Very happy with the interviews.
All right, thank you. Final piece of old business, we're going to require a vote on, we have an SSD updates to our policy section 4, agendas and meetings, based on some new requirements coming out of the state. So maybe Mindy can
Yes, sir.
fill us in a little bit.
Yes, so in front of you, last month, a clean copy and also a red line version of the updates to the policies. The Oregon Government Ethics Commission sent down, now they're managing public meeting law and policy. They have some changes to those, the policy requirements. And so we put those in the policies last month for your review. And then now it's up in front of the board this month. It's a resolution. The resolution number is 2026-004 to approve the updates to the public meeting policy section of the SSD. So that's resolution 2026-004. That is for the motion for approval.
Okay. Is there any questions in regards to this? Jim, did you have any commentary at all? Or okay, with that, we'll take a motion to approve that.
Yeah.
Director Kelly, okay, we have a motion and a
Second.
Director Stevens second. Okay, with that, we'll take a vote. Director Zook. Director Kelly.
Yes.
Director Stevens.
Yeah.
Chairman Pfister.
Yes.
And Vice Chair Shoemaker votes yes. Okay, I'll sign it and place it, Chairman Pfister, for today's date.
You
I just signed it by, so
Oh,
if
great,
you want to.
great, that's-
Yep. All right, then we move on to new business. Right along here. With that, we have our monthly chief report. And first in line this year is Chief Booz. Lucky you. Here you go.
Thank you. Vice Chair. I know, I'm nervous.
Okay. A lot of pressure.
So take a look at the dashboard.
Total monthly calls was considerably more this, for the month of April, 43 than we did in 2025 and 27. Turnout times were a little bit quicker than we have seen. We had one motor vehicle crash compared to 0. And then mutual aid, we gave 8 mutual aids to Lapine, and then Ben came in 3 times. Total calls for service, we're quite a bit higher than last year at this time. We're at 147. And then you can tell with our ambulance billing that we have in April of $17,500. So things are trending up on the fire side. Any questions on the dashboard?
Is that the sort of trend you would expect then, given where we are in the year, or it seems?
You know, the last couple of years when I've been here, it's been just same. Yeah, so this is a little bit different. Yeah, it's trending up. And now we're going into the summer months, so we're gonna see a lot more. Yeah. Administrative, we had our 911 user board meeting last month. Obviously, the rules and regulations, that's our way, that's ongoing. We had a Center of Emergency Management meeting. The chief and I met with property management companies, HOAs from around the area. Deschutes County Sheriff was here, kind of talking about, you know, evacuations, types of things. So I think it was a really good meeting. It was well attended, which was great. So we'll probably get together maybe twice a year, somewhere in there, just touching base with them. But that went really well. We had in Sun River, the Oregon Fire Chiefs Conference a couple weeks ago. It sounds like it was a hit. Everybody loves Sun River, so it worked out good. Then I'm still sitting on the upstaffing grant committee from the Oregon State Fire Marshal, although we did not get it this year because it's designed for departments that are $2 million or less. So they had enough applicants at that level that they gave it to those smaller departments. See Chief Bjorvik at the Central Oregon Wildfire School this past weekend, well attended. Everyone got a lot out of it. Chief Bjorvik spent a heck of a lot of time putting it all together. A lot of great training. There's a classroom portion, and there's 2 day portions where they actually go out and do live burning and everything else. So it went really, really well. So hats off to Chief for putting all that together. Also, this month we had our operations meeting. We had a patient care reporting class that we did in April. We did the extrication training. Director Stevens came out, spent some time there. So
I'll just mention, it was wonderful if you ever get a chance to attend any of these trainings put on by the departments. I encourage you to do so, to see. So what they did was created an example wreck. And in one dramatic case, there was a car with a crash test dummy in it. On top of that was positioned another car, just loosely attached, just above it. And another one had slammed into its side where you would pull out the crash test dummy. And so all of the vehicles had to be secured and then carefully removed from the standpoint so that that patient could be assisted. And it was really remarkable, fantastic work. Love seeing it, recommended.
Yeah.
You guys maybe have all seen this stuff 100 times before, but if you haven't, I recommend trying to see stuff like that.
they did a really good job.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And I'm glad you could come out.
Yeah.
Take part in that. We're also in the midst of doing ropes training. So we've got Swiftwater Rescue coming up, but working on ropes training. Our blue card incident management training. So that's how you initially establish yourself on a structure fire or a wildland fire, kind of how you set up your incident management system. So we're doing that training also. And then we are finishing up our required wildfire training of RT 130 is what it's called. So there's a lot of different fire shelters and watching videos and everything like that, preparing for the wildfire season. Under community events, we actually had one this week. The guys went to Three River School, took the fire engine there. I think everybody at school came out, did a great job showing them the fire engine, squirted a bunch of water. We have this big nozzle called a deck gun, and it sprays like 1,200 gallons a minute. They were spraying that in the parking lot. Kids obviously wanted to get underneath the water, but we made sure that that didn't happen. But it sounds like it went on really well. So, and with that, that's the end of my report. Unless there's any questions.
Any questions for the chief? Thank you, chief.
Yep.
Speaking of one chief to another, Chief Rasek, you're up.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. For the month of April, kind of a light report for this month. 435 total calls for service, which is down a little bit from the previous month, pretty close to where we were this time last year. But what I am very happy to see is that the proactivity remained about that same level, though our staffing is down right now. They're still out there and they're still putting in the work. 21 investigations in April, all of those investigations inside of Sun River. There was a total of 51 calls generated in the Sun River crosswater area. Of those, the Sun River Police Department responded to 7 total, and then 3 of those 7 were alongside the Sheriff's Department. The administrative update, the contract negotiations with the Police Officers Association, we met briefly last month. We have some tentative dates. I'm waiting to hear back on some tentative dates right now. And I'm waiting to hear back from them, hoping to get that restarted here very, very soon. The recruitment for the month of April, well, you guys just met Morgan. So he was given his conditional job offer. He met all of the minimum qualifications, and we have since. He will have, I will send an email to each of you. There will be a more formal swearing in on. Either Tuesday or Wednesday. Let me double check, but I will make sure that. Where he will have he has his wife, and he has a teenage child with him. There you go. Next Wednesday at 10:30. Yes, sir.
Does he have to go to the police academy?
He does not. He came to us via Bend, so
Okay.
he's going to go straight into Adtown.
Right, thanks.
There was a second applicant that I
question.
mentioned at last month's meeting. For personal reasons, he chose to withdraw his application. On some sad news, Officer Conway voluntarily resigned his position here at the police department. He and I had a little meeting and discussed where he was in his advancement, and it was his decision to resign his position. So we wish him luck, Chris. I really like Chris. He's a good guy. Again, and I'll use his words, the shoe just didn't fit. On a recruiting note, we have kept open the entry level and the lateral police officer positions. And again, really, really happy with the amount of applicants that we received. Over 20 applicants for the entry level position and probably 6 or 8 for lateral. We had interviews with many of them last week. There are 2 lateral applicants and an entry level applicant who are moving on to the next phases, which will be next week. So hoping to move very, very quickly on those positions and get those filled. Officer Allen and Executive Assistant Bobby celebrated their 1 year of service with the service district on the 16th of April. And as Chief already mentioned, the Sun River Emergency Management meeting. And I concur. It was a very worthwhile meeting. It's good to get everybody back in the room and have it covered. On to operations. The first thing is our drone program. After you guys getting updates for months and months and months, we are officially up and we are running, and it's nice to see. It'll be a great resource for the area, especially moving into the summer months. In fact, Officer Lyman had the opportunity to go and help out the Sheriff's Department. They had a barricaded, an armed barricaded suspect up a little bit north of the county from here. He was able to go out and provide some overwatch in that situation. So it's nice to, again, after being down for as long as we were, it's nice to have that back up. Officer Ardice began his initial training with the Tri-County CERT, the Central Oregon Emergency Response Team. In fact, he was gone all of this week attending the basic SWAT Police Academy. And then lastly, from operations, we had an instructor come in and provide first aid CPR training for everybody here at the police department, which is great. It's nice to have everybody. That is something that is monitored by DPSSD. And it's nice to have all of that out of the way. In fact, they will remain certified for the next 2 years. The Citizens Patrol, I'd like to refer they are the gold standard of volunteer service, and they keep doing what they're doing. They too received CPR training from the same instructor. So all of them were up to date with their CPR certifications. And then lastly, the community events. Really, other than the station tours, which I think we had just 1 or 2 last month, I had the opportunity to go and meet with the homeowners association over at Tennis Village. They wanted to talk about our ALPR program. That was good. It was about a half hour, very worthwhile meeting. And unless there are any questions, that is it for my update for April.
How many people do we have on Citizens Patrol?
Right now, there's probably, I don't have an exact number. I would guess probably 16 or 18. We did, as we wrapped up last summer, they started a recruitment drive, and we're hoping to get 3 or 4 more. And they wanted 3 or 4 individuals who really wanted to participate. And I would say that we got 2.5. And I say 2.5 because Britt Stearns, her husband, has been on CP for many, many years, and she has always been with him. She is now formally on part of the CP. So we got her in a more formal role. And then we have Patricia and Joseph Stearns, forget their last name, but they too are new and they're going to be out there. Passion is serving in the bike patrol capacity. So 2.5 extra for this year, which I'm excited about.
I did notice in your case and arrest summaries, 43 criminal within your total offenses, which is significantly higher than the prior year. Is that just was it not tracked at the same time? Because that seems like it's kind of an anomaly.
It is. And you know what? I'm glad you asked. I mentioned to bring it up. That could be attributed to one case up at the North SROA storage lot where there was a handful of trailers that were broken into. And so that's going to account for that increase.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Question, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to test out the new code from 911 on HOA cleared? I know we're going to discuss rules enforcement later. I just didn't know whether anything had come up yet.
No, great, thank you for that. And we have, as has been mentioned, as we've talked with SROA about working with Deschutes County 911, they were able to go in and to reprogram disposition code for HOA clearance. To answer your question, Chair Pfister, yes, we have actually started using it. I haven't yet run any reports on it. I think it's probably a little bit early for that. But the police department, the patrol personnel have been given that information and instruction on how to use it, in addition to adding some short, some clarifying notes as to, the details of the call.
Okay. And then just because you mentioned ALPR, I noticed, I think it was in today's source. There's another article from on Ben's ALPR efforts and how they're moving to Axon. So if anybody's interested in following along, I just noticed that article popped up.
That I haven't seen the article. And again, right now, since legislation passed, as we've discussed in previous meetings, the legislation went pretty much where we thought it would go. And I stick to right now, we are absolutely in compliance with legislation. In fact, we're probably a little bit ahead of it. And since that has passed, we now our usage reports and our audit reports, all of that information is now available on the district website.
And I just note that kind of following these things along lately is that all along we've been ahead of the curve thanks to initial implementation and then Chief Rasic's follow-up. So I have little to no concern as where our compliance standards are right now in regards to the LPRs.
There are some developments that are still required in statute that are pushed off a little bit. Again, most of those, again, I'm not worried about it. Some updates to policy and some very, very small things. I'm waiting for an update from Lexipol on that. Again, we'll get ahead of it.
Are we, is the contract being adjusted because of the changes?
The legislation requires an addendum, some updated language in each of the contracts, which actually has been added. It was a very, very simple addendum. And right now we are about 14 months. We have about 14 months left in our current contract with Flock. And all of these concerns, again, there was a grandfathering component in some of the legislation. And if the verbiage was in your current contract, then you're okay. But before you renegotiate a new contract, it needs to be addressed. But nothing material.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief. Any more questions? And so we move on to Administrator Holiday.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. My report, much of the last month has been working on the fiscal year 27 budget, and Lieutenant Van Meter and Deputy Chief Jorvik and I presented at the county last week, I believe. Yes, last week for our 7/15, 16, and 17 funds, and that went well, and they unanimously approved that to move on to the Deschutes County Commissioners, which will be in early June for formal adoption. We also have later in the package, we're talking about a 7/16 budget adjustment for this fiscal year, so I'll wait and talk about that more there. Deschutes County also approved our fee schedule for fiscal year 27, and so the whole purpose of this is just to have fees that for individuals that go above and beyond what we normally provide. So, for instance, difference really it's just the goal is just for it to be cost neutral to the district to go beyond our normal scope to provide. So that fee schedule. You guys will remember, I believe in February, approve it, and then it goes to the county for worked with staff on reporting the SRA rules and regulations contract and providing financial data for those discussions. Like I mentioned, the reserve study, hopefully can finish that up, as well as a projection, financial projection for the district for long-term planning. Then human resources gathered information related to Deschutes County health insurance offerings, and I sent an email to the board with an update that looks like it's more financially beneficial to the district to continue with our current offerings. And then at no cost to the district, we're looking at offering an additional Aflac life insurance policy that would be employee paid. The district does provide as part of the package to full-time employees a small life insurance policy, and this could be a supplement benefit to employees that they would be paying. We have some onboarding and offboarding. I met with WHA, our insurance provider, to discuss our workers' compensation policy, and so that will be on next month's agenda to approve the check for the fiscal year 27 workers' comp policy. And it looks like we're right on track with budgeting with that amount for next year. So there shouldn't be any changes to that line item. Operations, Rachel, she's working on live streaming the SSD meetings on YouTube as well. Kind of similar to SROA. Thank you to Jesus. I know they've been great, kind of helping us navigate through that and get this navigated as well. So we're working. And then various other matters, coordinating, and let's see, the logistics for the joint meeting, the SSD SROA joint meeting last week, which I thought was really nice. And then working with the nominating committee to finalize up that process. And we should hope to have some more information for the candidates coming up in the next week or two. But those are the highlights of my report for the last month. Any questions?
No questions. There's a first. Okay. All right, moving on to item 8 in new business, a review and vote on the SROA rules and regulations contract. Chairman Fisher is going to cover this. And by the way, Jim, we have Mr. Lewis, Mr. Burke here, Mr. Cazares down there on the end. Sorry, didn't see you hiding down there. From SROA in attendance today, Jim. So go ahead.
Okay. We have in front of you the contract. As we mentioned last week in the joint meeting, there had been a negotiating team. The SROA negotiating team is in the room there. The SSD negotiating team was myself, Administrator Holliday, and Chief Rassick. We came to an agreement on a contract that I think everybody has a little bit to dislike about, but does actually get us functionally operating from a rules enforcement perspective. I believe SROA reviewed it in their meeting, and I did see that they approved it last Saturday, and so it's now in front of us. My understanding is that Administrator Holliday and Chief Rassick reached out to all of you and briefed you on the contract. I think and I'll have Chief chime in as well. But my opinion is that it will work for us to get rules enforcement going, which I think is beneficial for the citizens of Sun River as well as the visitors. And I think it would be. I think we've got a contract that will work. We can always nitpick a couple of things on it. I'm sure I have a couple, but as it stands, we should be able to move forward. We would then, on approval of this, assuming we approve it, this would go into effect basically tomorrow, once Vice Chair Shoemaker would sign it, and or at midnight tonight, and then we will be moving forward with rules enforcement. We have as we talked in the Chief's report, we have a good idea as to how to be able to log homeowner cleared activities. This is something that we can do to provide better statistics. Bike patrol, I believe, is close to up and running and should, and again, Chief can correct me, but I believe should be on the pathways by this weekend, and that gives everybody an opportunity to basically enforce the rules as we traditionally do in the summer months. So, Chief, is there anything that you'd want to add in terms of the contract or in terms of the readiness of Sun River Police to be able to enforce?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Pfister. And yes, I had the opportunity to speak to each of you over the last couple of days, and we had some really good discussions about the pros and cons, because anytime you sit down and weigh back and forth, there are pros and cons. And I'm sorry, I'm going to speak on behalf of the fire chief as well. From the perspective we had to take, anytime you're looking at a contract such as this, is the ability to provide community safety service to the community, I should say. And so there are some things that I was focused on when we initially sat down with James Lewis over there, SROA, and one of them was going to be to maintain that level of service to the community, which we discussed, and then to maintain the professionalism of the organization. And this contract does both of those. The police and fire department can respond to any call that comes into them regarding rules enforcement 24/7, 365, regardless of the nature of the call, time or day of the call. The other thing, again, I was hesitant, as I discussed with each of you, I was hesitant to enter into any sort of a hybrid agreement that would, again, if the police department or fire department was responding to calls, only certain calls or certain times of the day or certain days of the week, it would add to confusion for the residents and the visitors. It would add to their frustration. It would certainly increase complaints, and in a worst case scenario, it would have some of the residents kind of taking matters into. So again, from that perspective, and I'm sorry, I had to wrap all of that into a degree of fiscal responsibility. So again, provided maintaining the professionalism of the organization and maintaining the level of service that the community deserves, this contract accomplishes both of those. Chief?
Spot on. All right. Just a note, I did ask that Mindy send this out to all the members so that they can, or ask that they read it ahead of time. So hopefully they gave you good feedback. There was one item in there missing, actually, that item that should be in there, but I think can be handled. Take the vote today because I know it's of utmost importance for the police department and for the district, SROA, is a terms of payment and timeline for payment is missing from the contract, which in any contract is pretty much a necessity. But we can handle that. I think we can get an addendum without impacting it at all. The vote can go forward today. I just want you to be aware. Don't be surprised if you hear something in the next couple weeks.
And I haven't checked with our legal yet. And I should say that legal has reviewed this and legal has approved it for signature. They have no conditions that would that would cause them to recommend to not sign it. So legal is good with everything. I have not checked with legal on the payments and conditions yet. I think it's actually something that could be added to Exhibit B when we update Exhibit B, but I'll go verify that.
Yeah, and it should be in there. I've yet to see a government contract, rare, especially between entities that don't have some terms of payment in there.
Yeah, there is a term of payment in there. It's just kind of a tangential one where it says that if there is no payment within 90 days, the contract is void. But typically we want better payment than that. My other comment would be I know that we have worked with SROA on a variety of things, and SROA has paid us in the past, and they're much faster than 90 days in their terms on average. That shouldn't stop us from dotting that particular I later, but I think we can move forward with it.
Right, I agree. And it's not a commentary on their ability or not wanting to pay. It's a matter of protecting ourselves. That's all.
Agree.
And I think that was one, thank you for that. And some of the board members gave feedback on that. That was one of the main, Chief had his priorities for the contract. And one of the main things that I'm glad to see is it's cost neutral for the district. And so that we're not having to utilize tax funds to help supplement this, and that it's, we've been able to agree that on some financials that have been shared, that this is the actual cost of us to do this business, and they'll pay, that cost. So that was a goal of ours, and I'm happy to see that was achieved.
Well, and that was actually something that you did mention in the budget presentation to the county, that anything that we would do would be cost neutral. So we're making sure that we're making our commitment to our bosses as well.
Any other input? Board? Before we move to a vote? All right, well, it looks like we're going to put it up for a vote then, and I think everybody had a good chance to review it, a few days anyway. So with that, I'd look for a motion from someone to move it forward.
I would move approval of the vice chair's signature on the rules enforcement contract with Sun River Owners Association.
So moved. Do we have a second? Second. With that, we'll take a vote. Director Zoop? Yep. Director Kelly?
Yes.
Director Stevens?
Yes.
Director Pfister?
Yes.
And Director Shoemaker votes yes as well. So we'll sign that today and effective this evening. Just be looking, just like I say, for that one warning, and pretty common in the contract. So
Unless you
no. Right. Who said that?
And then just to wrap up on that, I'm working with James and Jim the previous rules and regulations. There was a little bit of a reconciliation there. I'm assuming all of that worked well on your guys' end for that total amount to be decided on.
You worked with Joe on that, and so I didn't hear anything otherwise from Joe. So I'm saying that.
Great. Okay. Just to button up that last end of that.
Yeah. And so, I might comment that most of our major items are posted on our website. We are a public entity, and so that contract will end up getting eventually posted on the website. All right, moving on to number 9, review and vote on the FY26 716 budget adjustment. And I know Chief Rasick has his fingers in this one with Administrator Holiday.
You want to start, or you want me to start? Give you that look, you guys see it, I got a look, like, this is yours. You're talking about, so in previous meetings, I had mentioned, the acceptance of Officer Ardai onto, I'm sorry, we're doing bike or?
No,
No,
you're,
So,
Cert guy.
onto the- That is Central Oregon's SWAT team. And that is comprised of officers from Crook, Jefferson, and Deschutes County. And they are doing types of training and experience in high-risk situations. And all of that training and that experience can be brought back. I've already had discussions with Officer Ardais about that expectation. And, this is a commitment from the entire district for him to be up there. And speaking to his work ethic and his commitment really to this organization, he's actually very enthusiastic about bringing that type of training back down here. And, not only does it make for a better police department, it increases officer safety, but it is information and tactics that can be shared throughout the region. So it's not just for the Sun River officers, but really for a lot of the South County. And so part of that, again, is the financial commitment, and which you see in front of you. They are very expensive equipment, though they are standard issue for tactical teams, and especially the Central Oregon CERT team. The first item is a ballistic vest that is manufactured by Aardvark. These types of vests, Aardvark is actually a very reputable company that is used by police departments and tactical teams throughout the country. This particular vest is more expensive. They are larger. They are designed to cover more of the body. They are heavier. They have a higher ballistic rating than a lot of the vests you would see at just a normal patrol officer. So that would account for, again, that cost. The second item being the night vision goggles, those are made by Steel Industries. And that particular manufacturer is standard issue for the CERT team. And really, it kind of goes without saying, gives them the ability to see in the dark. And many of CERT's deployments are during nighttime hours, and especially in this kind of this rural, low light locations, officers in this situation that really can't be hindered by lack of lighting. So it is my recommendation that we.
So the process would be based on approval here, then it is on the agenda next week for the Deschutes County Commissioners, because it will need to be a budget adjustment. This wasn't in our 716 budget. And for the policies, it needs to be. And so I've worked with Deschutes County to have it on the agenda for next week to get the budget adjustment to approve these purchases, so we can get those as soon as possible.
It's a quick question, Chief. It didn't come up when we got ballistic vests for the force several years ago, so I just want to make sure that it's out in the open. I would assume that this ballistic vest does have a life cycle associated with it, and we would have to buy it again if he was still on the CERT team when that came due. Is that correct?
Additional life cycle for ballistic panels is 5 years. These are heavy, what they call heavy panels that are rated higher for rifle rounds. I would need to double check the life expectancy on those. I'm thinking it might be higher, but it's going to be a minimum of 5 years.
Okay, yeah, like I said, there was some confusion the last time that we got some ballistic vests. I think it was very specifically the helmets. We had a board member that didn't realize that they needed to be updated, so I was just making sure that that's on the record, that we all understand that.
and I know for sure the plates won't have to be replaced, but the vest itself.
Correct. It's usually, then it's probably
Yeah.
5.
At least 5 years.
So I wasn't certain on the expiration on those. But yeah, most ballistic vests, like a patrol officer would wear, is 5 years.
with the exception of the plates being taken around. They would
Yeah, that's right.
need to be replaced.
Let's hope we don't have to replace
Yeah.
that. But that's why you buy them.
And this is a detached assignment, right?
Correct. It's a collateral assignment, yes.
What does that mean?
It's not a full-time position. He still will be working here as a patrol officer in Sun River. And as he is available, he will be up there deploying and training the search.
And the benefit we get is that not only does he bring that training back to this department, but then he's being trained up there on techniques and procedures that are common within the Central Oregon area. So our officers are receiving that same training. So when they have that interactions, it really does help.
And then if he is called, to a tactical event, I believe we are on the hook for the overtime for that, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an agreement with CERT. That's fine.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Got
I move.
have to make the budget. You move.
I move.
Second. Mr. Zook. Okay, with that, we'll take a vote. Director Zook.
Yes.
Director Kelly.
Yes.
Director Stevens.
Yes.
Director Pfister.
Yes.
Director Shoemaker votes yes. So we'll go ahead and get that budget. Do we need to sign on that?
Nope, there's nothing to sign. I'll take it to, well, it's already at the county, but I'll coordinate with them.
Okay.
And I'll report back. Next week what they vote.
Great, thank you. Next item, the chief was ready for this already. Bike patrol wage scale. Again, chief, it's like your guys' show today, so just carry on.
I want to thank Lieutenant Van Meter and Sergeant Bull for actually getting in front of this and kind of championing this. We have 4 already signed up and they're ready to roll. There will be 3 of them out there this Memorial weekend, starting on Saturday, which is great because we're going to kind of kick off our summer community event series with the Kids AMA down there at the village. So they'll be out there and engaging with everyone. So I am requesting an increase in wage from the hourly rate of $16.50 to, or roughly $16.50 to $21.50 an hour. And the reason, the motivation behind that is to remain competitive, really, with other seasonal employment. It's the wage increase that I think is probably overdue. I remember having these discussions last year. This wage increase will enable us to attract some more high quality applicants that can pass the background and are mature enough to be trusted in a public safety environment. And again, as Mindy had mentioned, this adjustment should come at very little cost to the district. There will be some because of the percentage paid by SRO, the percentage paid by the service district. But for the most part, it'll come at very little cost as this rate of payment is agreed as part of the negotiated funding.
And I'll just point out that I think there was such a disparity between what we're requesting now versus previously. As you can see in the wage scale, there was numerous years where a COLA was not offered to the bike patrol. Also, many of the same requirements for, let's say, the SRO live fire position are for bike patrol, and this gets us in that competitive. We're trying to still like this, but it's just, it's hard to. $4 less than.
You get your kids working yet, Mindy?
I do.
Okay, just check.
The one that can.
Okay.
And so it's a resolution, and so forgive me for not having that resolution number on the agenda, but it's 2026-005 is the resolution. The board historically through resolution approves any updates to any wage scales or job descriptions. So that's 2026-005.
Do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
I move that we approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, for the vote, Director Zook,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Stevens?
Yes.
Director Pfister?
Thumbs up.
That's a thumbs up, okay. And Director Shoemaker votes yes, so with that, we approve the resolution 2026-005 for the bike patrol wage scale increase. And I would note, thank you, especially Chief Racick, for kind of, I won't say going out on a limb because that's not, but it's what they did in the department kind of was banking on the fact that we were going to resolve the contract. They got ahead of the curve because otherwise the district would probably not have any bike patrol officers in essence. So just FYI.
I'm very, you guys have heard me say it before, really impressed with the service they provided last summer and gonna hold it to that same standard. They did a great job.
And anecdotally, comments that I get when people talk to me about the service district, especially during the summertime, is they see the bike patrol and they appreciate that very much. That's one of their first things. Oh yeah, I see them all the time on the bike paths. They're great. So they make good representatives, SROA and the service district. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to item 11. This is the motion to approve the April 26 unaudited financials. Indeed, you have
Yes, sir.
commentary for that?
Yes, so in front of you are the April. We have 2 more months in this fiscal year. We've already started getting some invoices for next fiscal year, so I've worked with the admin staff to make sure to separate those out, to not be paying those till after July 1. But in front of you, you have our revenue list, and one of the areas in yellow to talk about is that transfers in revenue to our capital fund, and usually best practice is to just reconcile that with the expenses, because 715 pays for everything out of that capital fund, and then just reconcile it for one transaction, and now we're going to have a few more expenses. So we probably will see that on next month's financials, the reconciliation of that transfer in revenue. Otherwise, everything looks to be kind of on par. The one thing, Chief Booth, I wanted to connect with you is the GEMT revenue. I believe we should be getting that here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's just so hit and miss.
Yeah, I know. So I feel like that's just in the world of the state, and we'll get it at some point. So
Call Oregon Health Authority.
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So really, that's the only we're quote unquote waiting from. That is a large portion of our revenue. Any questions? Revenue. Moving on to expenses for the police department, everything seems to be right on track, under budget, definitely for salaries and benefits. We're at about 50% of the fiscal year right now, so we're definitely under budget so far for police salary and benefits. As far as materials and services, a couple line items that have gone over, but nothing too crazy or too much, because definitely materials and services overall is under budget. To move on to fire department, once again, both of those areas, department salaries are under budget, and benefits are on target with budget. But if you see that last page of the financials where I break out the conflicts and the reimbursements, you'll see that of the OT budget for this fiscal year, the percentage of just regular OT is at about 65%, whereas the conflict is about 18.5%, which we do get reimbursed. So I think it's important to separate those out to see that the chief's done really great with the OT budget. It's under budget for this fiscal year. As far as materials and services for fire, I think the only one, Chief, was that special supplies that's gone just a tick over. But we've talked about that, and there's nothing really that we can't just absorb in other line items, because overall materials and services for fire is well under budget. Bike patrol, there's been no change in bike patrol so far, but as you've heard, they'll get started this weekend, and so we'll start to see some activity in that account for your May financials. Otherwise, there's been no change in that area. Administration, benefits and salary is under budget, and materials and services are well under budget. And you'll see that I just highlighted at the bottom, just that little reminder about the transfer to the reserve fund, which I already mentioned. Otherwise, definitely on track, and we've already talked about a few of those other areas that I've highlighted. So 716 capital fund, you'll see this will look different next month with that budget adjustment. It passed by the Deschutes County Commissioners. Otherwise, I believe most items for the capital fund have been received and have been paid. So we'll see a little bit more activity in that next month with the purchase of these two items. As far as the public safety building 717 fund, I highlighted you'll see the payment for the bank loan right there, the 751,000. So you'll see that next month as a change. It's really hard to use the year-to-date percentages for the 717 fund as an indicator on how healthy the budget is, because it's really based on different functions of the construction of the building, but there are still plenty of funds there. Chief Goose for the deferred items. We have funds in there. He's working with John Ralston. If those invoices come due, Chief Goose, your thoughts on whether or not those deferred projects are going to happen in the next month or two?
No.
If not, they're budgeted for the next fiscal year.
No.
Great.
We're close. We're close to going out.
So if you'll see in the breakdown for each fund, for Fund 715, overall, our operating budget is that fund is under budget. Fund 716 is just right on track. We just make sure everything comes in either at budget or below budget. And then 717, there's still plenty of funds in there if we need to utilize them for deferred projects, but it sounds like we won't. So those will just be carried over to next fiscal year.
We could have talked about it in either the last item or this, or two items ago or this item. We did talk to the county because we're showing a pretty significant surplus this fiscal year. We had at least talked a little bit with county finance about doing a reserve contribution because we did not budget one for 716 for next year. Mindy, I believe they settled on you don't need to do a budget adjustment this year, just do one next year in the normal cycle. Is that correct?
Correct, because we already have for next fiscal year quite a few budget adjustments. It sounds like already for one of our capital items, we need to make a change. Bike patrol is not in our budget for this fiscal year, so we already need to do that adjustment. It sounds like we could do then budget adjustment, add in that transfer to reserves. And I think it's important to note that the surplus is primarily due to one conflict revenue. So Chief Boost and Chief Bjorg were out for quite a bit of last summer. Also, we received it per ORS, and we have an officer leave within so many months of us putting them through the police academy. We get reimbursed for those costs. So I just think it's worth noting that we also had some tax items that were returned to us that were historically incorrectly paid. And so there were just a few things that you just would never budget for that we were actually able to have a surplus for the year. So I think it's just important to know that those are the main reasons why that we did have a surplus. So the board has entertained an idea of utilizing that as the transfer to our reserve fund for next year.
Yeah. So go ahead, John.
What is the timeline that we're looking at to make that transfer and all these adjustments? Get them before the committee.
Historically, or best practices is not to do a transfer utilizing the surplus from one fiscal year until the audit for that year's done. So September-ish,
Okay.
October-ish, and then the first set of budget adjustments go in front of the county in December.
The reason I ask is it relates back to the reserve study again.
Correct. Yep.
So I'm thinking just down the road.
Yep. So then that would be maybe an update to the reserve study at that time.
Yes.
Because we're not quite sure the amount of the funds, but it would definitely impact the future projections for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to have to look at both 716 and 717 based on the reserve study. So that'll give us some time to do that. And then obviously it'll come in front of the board before we do any adjustment and submit it to the county. But just making a note again for the record that, we do want to make sure that we are being responsible and continuing to fund reserves when we have the availability to do that. And then we should probably also update our, what are we on now? 6-year forward-looking projections. Basically out to the end of the loan to look at, and that will be another tool that'll give us an idea of operating reserves and the health of those over the period of time, so that we can, so that again, we're not further hurting the reserves by sending too much out.
Agreed. Any other questions on the unaudited financials?
When does the audit take place?
Usually I start working with the team in mid-August, mid to late August, and then it takes a few weeks in their final report. Usually they present either at the September, October board.
And we're sticking with the same audit team, correct?
I believe so. County has decided to extend that contract for another year. There's not a lot of auditors in the state, so. No, there's not.
Anything further? Do I have a motion then to approve the April 26th unaudited financials?
I move that we approve them.
So move. Second.
Well, second.
Thank you. With that, we'll take a vote. Director Zook,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Stevens,
Yes.
Director Pfister,
Yes.
thumbs up. Okay. Director Shoemaker votes yes. So we'll approve those. Finally, review of our April and May SROA board meeting. Now, unfortunately, we have him in the room. Oh, are we going to get a report from someone in SROA? I'm hopeful. We
can
have
always
the,
we can
Here's-
always defer it to the next meeting, but it would be useful for us to note back to SROA, especially if there's some people in the room that one, we sincerely appreciated ex officio Snyder's participation in the board, and given his resignation from the unfortunate resignation from the SROA board, we would request that SROA consider providing another ex officio long term.
beat me to the punch. Thank you.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to steal your thunder, sorry.
You did. Go ahead, Mr. Burke.
Yeah.
Yeah. At our June meeting every year, our vice president puts legislation officers for the following year. Last couple of years, added all assignments. So we will be looking at that. Our vice president's checking with all ongoing members right now. And we'll also be looking at our new directors as quickly as possible. Also, after the meeting today, we've already prepared the blast to go out to all of the homeowners for whom we have their email addresses, so we'll know we're operational tonight. We'll also be having a reference in my message next month to the agreement. Also be published. I believe we were able to put right next to it the joint statement that was offered at the next month meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you. And I too would like to thank Randy Snyder for his participation in our meetings. Thank you so much for representing.
And I appreciate you staying on with the nominating committee.
Yes.
To button that up for us as well. So thank you, sir.
Jim wasn't there today?
Yeah. And then until, well, as part of the packet, you always get the SROA board meetings, minutes, as well as their action items. So in lieu of having ex officio, you guys always have those as part of your board packet, reach out to you guys. I'm sure.
I will make, I did make a comment to her on email, but I will make a comment in public session that it is nice to see Becky Sylvester back in operational. Glad that she's feeling better and is back to working at SROA.
And thank you for the management team at SROA for coming over today. Appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order today?
You ought to run these meetings more often, John.
Well, can I put you on mute now? Get to the real meeting. So we'll take I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Director Zook? Yes. Director Kelly?
Yes.
Director Stevens?
Yes.
And Director Pfister?
Yes.
That's a thumbs up, yes. And Director Shoemaker says, votes yes. Thank you all today. Motion passes. Appreciate it. Thank you. By the way, Jim, an hour and 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
That's what like I said, you should run these things more often.
Take note, man.
Hey.
Very efficient.
All right. See you.